And the one aspect that stuck in my mind more than any other, basically the senior devil gave advice to the junior devil about the best things to do to put into humans' minds that would tempt them to do things wrong, basically. And on one of the letters, there's lots of letters in this book, the screw tape letters, it's very good. And one of them said to the junior devil, what you must do, tell the humans they have plenty of time. They always fall for that. And I never really forgot that, the fact that we do tend to assume, don't we, that we've got plenty of time. Oh, I won't do that now. I won't do it today. I can do that at some future stage. And for the most part, we do, or we can do it at a future stage. But time in many ways is irreplaceable. Well, it is irreplaceable. If we waste it, it's gone forever. And, that's, I think another example of that was in one of Shakespeare's plays, Richard III, and that very famous saying or statement that he made in a battle. He said, a horse, my kingdom for a horse. And here he'd been thrown off of his horse in the battle. He was actually killed in the battle, but before he was killed, he uttered those words. He will give away his entire kingdom for a horse so he could basically carry on living. He knew his time was up. His time was short. So we cannot replace the time. I suppose we can call it the husbandry of time. Would you say, either of you, that do you feel sometimes you waste time, or would you say you utilize your time sensibly, to the extent that you really want to? Phantom, ask you first.
I think I never wasted any time. Any time of mine was well spent. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think
can, yeah.
I never wasted any of my time. I think all the times I had, the opportunities I had, I actually used them wisely. I didn't waste any of it. No, not one bit. But
That's
I could
good.
do with a little more time though. Just saying.
Yeah.
Mm.
What about you, Cuz?
Yeah, I share the same sentiment with Phantom, because um you you can never have enough time in a day for me. I just, I'm constantly, sometimes I'm doing something right into the middle of the morning, or not the middle of the morning, but late into the hours of the night and early hours of the morning. So, and sometimes I think, oh my days, I'm supposed to sleep. I'm not going to sleep. I've got to wake up at this time. I've got to do this. So yeah, I don't waste any time. The only time that I feel that is wasted is when I get into a situation where I have to do something, but maybe due to circumstances beyond my control, I am unable to do it. For instance, some days I wake up with a sore head, so and then I nurse this headache throughout the day, and it limits what I can do. And I'm thinking, this is a wasted day. But on my own, I don't waste time. No, I
No.
don't. No, I feel anyway.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I think we can't help it. I mean, as I say, once in a while I'll go and see a film at the cinema, and I'll come out and think, well, I won't ever get that 2 hours back again because it wasn't worth seeing. So, or even watching something on TV, sometimes you can have that feeling. But equally, I think sometimes we can be tempted to think that whether when working or at leisure, we've always got to be doing something. I mean, I think I'm like that. I tend to be quite restless and active. I like to be doing something productive. I like to look back on a day and say, yeah, that was a good day. But I'm sure there's also relevance in saying, well, we also need to just stop and reflect sometimes, regroup a little bit, smell the coffee, see the flowers or whatever. So yeah, I think it's a middle road of not overdoing it. It's good to utilize our time properly, to realize it's a precious resource. Somebody, I guess, who was able, against all the odds, to utilize their time was somebody called Helen Keller. Now, you probably have heard of her. And I thought she's somebody we can have a conversation with about in the next week or two. But she was a lady when she was, I think she was 19 months old, so very, very little. She had an illness. She had a fever, which very sadly left her deaf and blind, both deaf and blind. Can you imagine? Now, she was born in 1880 in America. She actually lived to 88, so 1968 she died. And poor girl, I mean, she probably wouldn't have learned much by way of language when she had this illness. So she suddenly found herself deaf and blind. And there's a very good movie about it as well, which I saw some time ago. She was helped to begin to understand the world by somebody called Anne Sullivan. And in the early days, she became sort of very physically aggressive towards Anne as she tried to learn things. And then one day she made a breakthrough. And the first word she sort of learned was water. I think Anne Sullivan put Helen's hands under a dripping tap, and they had a code. They developed a code, or Anne did, so she could learn the letters. In fact, in her life, she said the most important thing in life, things in life, are words, which of course we discussed last week in our podcast.
Yeah.
So anyway, I won't go on too much about Helen Keller now, but when you think she got a Bachelor of Arts degree at Radcliffe University, which is now part of Harvard.
Yeah.
She traveled the world lecturing on all sorts of things, on life, on disadvantage, on positivity. She didn't waste a moment of her life. Now, just think again, what must it be like to be deaf and blind? I mean, either one of those handicaps is, for most of us, is a kind of a nightmare. But to actually grapple with that and to come through, she wrote 14 books, all of which I believe are still in print. I've got 2 or 3 of them. Quite fascinating to read the words of somebody who is deaf and blind, not be able to visibly perceive the world.